We know the Ukrainian foreign minister, that's Andrii, Sybiha, is currently meeting International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola to strengthen bilateral relations between the two countries. The Ukrainian government official is now speaking. Let's listen in.
Mining, engineering, IT, digitalization and other areas. We will also welcome South Africa's business role in Ukraine's recovery. I also propose the South African side to look into the possibility of visa liberalization for Ukrainian citizens. This would be a good step to facilitate people-to-people contacts, business ties, cultural exchange and tourism. By the way, citizens of South Africa can visit Ukraine without visas already. We need reciprocity. I was pleased to have these productive and constructive talks today. We critically need each other, and I have a clear vision for our next steps and endeavors. I invited Minister Lamola to visit Ukraine at his convenience, and I believe that our exchange will be regular in the future. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Minister, over to you.
Thank you very much, my colleague, Your Excellency, Mr. Sybiha. I am glad that we're able to face the realities of our bilateral relations. It is imperative that we manage to identify areas of mutual benefit for both our countries to take our bilateral relations to another level. The signing of the long-awaited agreement on visa waiver for diplomatic service and official passports will follow the diplomatic processes. Once those processes have been concluded, the agreement will then be concluded, which will enable our diplomats and services and official passports to be able to travel between the two countries seamlessly. We have also noted your request for reciprocity with regards to ordinary citizens. As we are aware, we service our citizens and the citizens of Ukraine through WOSU in Poland, which complicates our work. We will process this matter through our own internal mechanisms, and we'll be able to give you a feedback through the diplomatic channels in regards to this request. We deliberated on constraints to fragile international security, including but not limited to the current wars. And it gives me great pleasure and honor to learn that Ukraine wants peace as soon as possible. Mostly importantly, that you are willing and ready to engage with Russia in the next process of the peace formula, as suggested by South Africa, because we believe that in this conflict it's important that all the warring factions are on the table and they can be able to engage. They cannot only meet on the battlefield, because any peaceful resolution will come through diplomatic engagements and peaceful negotiations of the conflict that is currently ongoing. This is important that it happens so that we can find long-lasting peace in this ongoing conflict that has affected global supply chain, that has affected the supply of grain, food across the globe, and ourselves also being affected through the prices and other factors that impact on the supply of food across the globe. So it is in the interest of us and the people of the world that we see a peaceful resolution to this conflict. And we look forward to that engagement through the peace formula that will involve all the parties. We are also looking forward to continue our engagements with yourselves with regards to the Africa initiative that you are aware was led by our President Ramaphosa and other African leaders, with an aim also to persuade the parties to a negotiation platform and a table. And as I've said during our deliberations, we are also part of the China and Brazil initiative, which is also aimed to bring the parties to an engagement that we are hopeful will one day be realized. We also engaged on a number of conflicts that are raging in the African continent, in particular the Sahel, Sudan, which as South Africa, we are very concerned about the current humanitarian crisis, the maiming of innocent children and women, in particular in Sudan, which has been declared by the Red Cross, the largest humanitarian organization, SARA, as one of the biggest humanitarian disasters the world has ever seen. We also continue to call for peace in Sudan and for cessation of hostilities in that conflict. We have also deliberated on other aspects in the Sahel, including the conflict in the Eastern DRC, our continued support for peace initiative, also in Mozambique, including the outcomes of the elections of Mozambique that were largely peaceful in the process, but violence did break out after the elections, and we are looking forward to the final outcome as the process is demanded by the Mozambican constitution. We also looking forward to allowing diplomatic processes that will enable the strengthening of bilateral trade between the two countries that will impact various areas of trade, digital transformation, agriculture, and many other fields of trade, including processes that will also continue to help with the skills gap that exists in our countries, which we can be able to exchange. This will be done through the diplomatic processes that allows for them to be processed. We will also process the invite that we have received from yourself, my colleague, to come to Ukraine, and we will be able to give the feedback in terms of what is possible, and after we've followed all the diplomatic processes. We also continue to participate in the various platforms, as I've said, which underscores our non-alignment as a country to participate in the China Peace Initiative, the Africa Initiative, and many other initiatives that are aimed to find a solution in this ongoing conflict that we believe are very important. But we also continue to participate in many other initiatives, not only in this regard, including in the African continent and in many platforms that signals and shows our non-alignment stance as a country that is aimed to ensure that disputes are resolved through peaceful means and through negotiations across the globe, and that where conflicts do flare up, all the warring factions in the conflict should be encouraged to come to a negotiation table. And we have also encouraged this with regards to Sudan, that the parties must not only meet in the battlefield, there must be a channel of communication that is open, that enables them to engage on a number of issues, including to find a ceasefire in that conflict. This is very important for the people of the globe, in line with the UN Charter. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellencies. Colleagues, I'll now invite you for questions. I would encourage Your Excellencies to take out your pen, test if they work. And then just jot down the questions, and then we will then take them. Sophie, my colleague, News 24, I see SABC, and Business Day. In that order, colleagues, shoot your questions. The ministers will write them down. Please be clear who your question is directed at. If both, please say so. If just one, please say so. Thank you.
My question is directed at both ministers. My name is Sophie Mkwena from the SABC. The issue of Ukraine, currently the focus is on the Middle East. Are you agreed as Ukraine that there's more focus on the Middle East? But secondly, what is the position of Ukraine in relation to the situation in the Middle East, you also being involved in a conflict? And the other question is on inviting Russia. What took so long for Ukraine to finally agree that, or understand and accept that when you want peace, both warring factions must be on the peace table. And Minister, in terms of clarifying the issue of the agreement on visas, which is bordering on the foreign policy.
All right, that's the situation as it's unfolding in Pretoria. Hello again. If you've just joined us, this is the agenda. There's a number of developing stories we're watching for you. That bilateral engagement between Ukraine and South Africa continues in the capital city.